to host a webinar. We're going to talk a little bit about webinars versus web meetings. Webinars are events. They're educational events. Whether you're selling something, whether you're helping somebody learn something new, it's typically 1 or 2 presenters at a time. You're pushing information out to typically a larger group of people, 5, 10, 15, 20, it could be hundreds of people. But they're more event related. Web meetings are more casual. You might have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people on. You're talking interspersed. You might be showing documentation, not as formal typically. And then some of you are saying, well, I kind of do a combination thereof. I'll say, sure. But just to delineate between the different types of meetings, today we're focusing on those more formal settings, those more educational settings. That's me. That's the glamour shot. I will go on video. This is the real shot. I'm in California today, and we're going to have a beautiful sunny day. My name is Sherry Jevons. I'm president of Power Presentations. I'm very excited to talk with all of you today because most of you are clients of ours. You're educators, you're subject matter experts, you're people that are trying to engage your clients internally or externally on making sure that they're being educated and staying involved in what you need them to learn and understand. So that's me. I want to introduce Rachel Matthews. She is our producer today. Rachel, you want to say hello?
Of course. Thanks for joining us today, everybody.
Yeah, and I'm going to go off webcam, and you'll notice today I'm going to go on and off webcam, particularly these days when we've got potential bandwidth issues for some of you. I do want to say hello. I want to be on webcam. I want to talk to you, but I also don't want it to be a distractor for you. So let's get going on today's session. Hey, I like to keep it busy right off the bat. So how many webinars have you conducted? Now, let me clarify. Webinars are those education sessions. You're pushing that information out, not necessarily a web meeting, but webinars. So we're going to push this poll out to you, and you're going to select the radio button, and there it is. So Rachel launched that for me, just so that you know, folks. I'm what we call the presenter today, and Rachel is my producer and or host. She's the one that's going to work in tandem with me. I don't get involved with this. And part of the reason is because I need to stay focused on the flow of the content. And when you're trying to do other things such as open polls, that can be a little bit challenging, or managing the chat can be a little bit challenging. Rachel, go ahead and end that poll, please. Aha, okay. Yeah, so some of you haven't done it before. All right. Some of you a little bit, some of you, oh gosh, lost count. That would be us. Okay. Listen, you can always learn new things. So for my very experienced people today, my goal for you, 1 or 2 key new tips. For those of you that are brand new, you might have the head spinning by the end of this. Okay. Let's get into it then. So here's our goal for you. What are some of the tips and the tricks that we can teach you and share with you that can create engaging, interactive, even fun virtual instructor-led training? I do want to expose you to some of the tools. Obviously, it's 30 minutes, folks. So some of these tools you're going to actually witness and participate in, and other tools we're going to talk to you about and how you can incorporate them into your educational session. Here's the challenge. Now that people are home, first of all, they've got a lot of distractions. And it's hard to keep people focused. And certainly if you're not looking at them, it's even much more difficult. I got to tell you, some people are taking like their day-long training sessions and they're going 2 hours with I actually had a client tell me they did an 8-hour that was face-to-face. They put it into virtual. They had 2 10-minute breaks in the morning and 2 10-minute breaks in the afternoon. And I said, how'd that go? I said, oh, it went really well. I said, I got to tell you, that sounds like torture to me. You just can't do that, folks. It's just humanly impossible to sit in front of your computer that long. So I need you to share with me, what is your biggest challenges when it comes to some of these educational sessions? And it might be that you don't even know how to do it. That's a challenge. But go ahead and put that in the chat. I want to start to try to customize what I'm saying to you today based on the situations that you are facing. And you know what? Some of you just might be here to observe and learn. That's fine too. Here's my agenda for today. I am going to talk about attendee interaction and give you some ideas. Obviously, chat is the easiest form of interaction, but I want to talk a little bit about going beyond the basics. And I do want to show you some ideas for whiteboard and annotation. It is going to be a 30-minute session. Try to minimize the distractions. I'm going to ask lots of questions. I'm going to ask for active participation because, of course, we want to demonstrate what you should be designing for your folks. And then also, if there's any audio issues, I want you to try to switch from computer audio over to the phone. Rachel is going to put in the chat the phone number to call in. So if you I start to get crackly for you, please call it out in the chat. I may need to call back in, or you may need to go to the phone. Hey, Rachel, what are some of those challenges that we've been hearing about?
We've got a lot of folks talking about keeping attendees engaged. Both Joan, Pamela, Connie all want to keep their attendees engaged. Vicki is missing out on seeing the body language cues.
Yeah.
And then we've got several people wanting to learn more about the tools.
Yes, well, all that's going to happen today. One of the things I want you to notice, look how busy we're making you be early on. So that's one of the design things I want to kind of share with you is that keep them very busy early. You're training them right now. I'm guiding you to say, it's going to be tough to go do that email because I'm asking you to chat, I'm asking you to take a poll, I'm asking you to engage. Rachel's reading your comments and she can see your name. So, and she'll even start calling out, oh, John said this, Rebecca said this. So we're already starting to discipline you. I say that word like it's like we're teachers, but keep you engaged so that you go, oh gosh, I can't really go anywhere. Let's talk right away about that attendee interaction. We got another poll for you. I'm going to read the poll first, give you the answers, then she's going to launch the poll. And the reason we do this, folks, is because what if the poll doesn't launch? That's happened before. You have the poll words on the slide just in case, because, hey, we could still take this poll and chat. So how often should you visually engage? That means they see something new on the screen. How often should you physically engage them? That means they're touching their computer. Now, these are best practices learned through myself and all my colleagues that have been in this business. I've been in this business over 12 or 13 years now from a virtual perspective. 27 years in communication skills. So launch the poll. What do you think the best practices are? And some of you know this answer. Some of you are going to be shocked by the answer. Oh, they're like, not sure. They're changing their minds. It's exactly how it goes. Not sure. How often should it be? And then there's the old answer, how often do I want it to be? Okay, Rachel, end that poll, please. Yes. All right, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm going to stop to share those results. I'm going to give you the answers. Here's the answer. Oh, boy, that sounds annoying. That even feels like, wow, how is that even possible? How often should you visually engage them? 30 to 90 seconds. Now, hang on. Don't panic. It's just a guideline. It's telling you you have to do it a lot. And what I mean by that is just see movement on the screen. How often should you physically engage? About every 2 to 3 slides, every 3 to 5 minutes. Again, the content's going to drive that. But what I need you to be thinking about is in your design of your information that you're sharing, again, whether it's a sales demo, whether it's a project update, whether it's a communication, begin to think, how can I keep them busy? Now, here's one suggestion. You got these busy graphs. Use builds. Point to things. Use color. Even though this slide is the same slide, and it might be there for 15 minutes because I have a lot of technical information I have to give, use the tools within PowerPoint. Now, there's also some pretty cool tools. One of my favorites is the Spotlight. And by the way, we're in Zoom now. WebEx, GoToMeeting, Adobe Connect, there's a million different out there. They all have tools. I like the Spotlight because I want people to if I'm guiding them through what I'm talking about, I want to be able to do that. So this is one of my favorites. It's really fast to use. Let's just say you say, Sherry, there is no way I've got time to do these builds. I'm slamming and jamming right now. I say, okay, take a breath. Just use the tools you've got. Use that spotlight. You know, I've got another tool up here. I'm going to go get my arrow tool. 1 second, let me get it. All kinds of tools to use within the system. And that's what you want to do. How do I keep them visually stimulated? So even if you don't have the time for the visual stimulation, you've got the time for the annotation tools. And learn which tools you have available to you. Okay, so big picture, what does this mean as you look at your design? First of all, you're going to have a lot of slides. Way more than in face-to-face. Have slides with more white space on the slides. You're going to want those slides moving quicker. You want to mix it up with pictures, graphs, charts, screenshots. Go on and off webcam. That'll visually stimulate them. You also can have multiple presenters. So you'll notice that there'll be banter between Rachel and I, just so you can hear a different voice. That stimulates you. And matter of fact, Rachel, what do I got over in my chat? Questions, issues, concerns?
We do have one question from John, and this could probably be an entire e-newsletter, to be honest. It's, what's the difference between presentation formats such as Skype, Teams, Zoom, etc.?
Yeah, you know, I like to describe it as it's like driving different cars. They all have different features. All of them were designed for various different things, but it's like getting into a different car. They can all get you in the mode of sharing documentation and going on webcam. Some are more sophisticated and stable than others. We all have our favorites. None of them are perfect. They all have issues and challenges, just like any other technology that's available. So yes, I would just tell you Zoom. The reason why we've switched to Zoom within our company is because we can play video, which is very important to us, because of course we teach presentation skills and we want to show video, and we can do breakout rooms in Zoom. One of the other things I like about Zoom for us is Zoom, that's all they do. So their technology is already getting enhanced on a regular basis, and so I like that. But that's not to say I'm not poo-pooing any of the others. We use WebEx all the time. We used to use GoToMeeting all the time. There's different platforms within them, GoToMeeting, GoToTraining. So they're all just have different features, pluses and minuses. There's no perfect one. What I want to do today is kind of show you, you've got a lot of power. This is a really busy slide. You're like, oh my God. I'm going to go get my spotlight. I'm going to show you. So I've got a busy slide. You've got audio choices. You've got video choices. You can share a screen or share documents. You've got potential breakout rooms. You've got emoticons. This is from Zoom, and you've got all these options to use. You can change up colors. You can do hearts. All this to say you've got lots of options. Now, this is in Zoom. WebEx has a lot. Adobe has a lot as well. I just want to show you today what we're going to focus on today. And you're going to see the ones we're not going to focus on blur out, and the ones we are going to focus on are chat and the annotations. But there's many others that we would potentially talk about down the road. Okay, content. In virtual, if the world is perfect, people are going to learn more effectively with these chunked, shorter sessions. The beauty of it is that you can spread it out over time. But I need you to think about what's really right for these sessions. So let's just say you've decided we want 30-minute sessions. That's all our people can take. And I'm actually going to go on webcam on this one because this is a really important point. You don't have 30 minutes, people. You never have 30 for the content. I want you to be thinking always 2/3 at best. 2/3 content, 1/3 interaction, technology problems, or just open conversation with people. So you start looking at these sessions and you say to yourself, I don't have the kind of time like I do in a face-to-face. The content has to be tight. So you're always leaving time. Now for that 90-minute session, which we do a lot of 90 minutes, you're going to have education in it. You're going to have breakouts. You're going to have a lot of people talking. You're going to have them doing whiteboard activities, just like in a regular classroom. Imagine sitting there for 90 minutes and doing nothing. It would be very difficult. You'd have people yawning, looking at their watches, looking at their phones. You're always breaking them out. You're letting them talk and work with each other. You can do that in these sessions, but you have to plan it all. Okay, off webcam. Some people say to me, well, how do you feel about 2- and 3-hour sessions? I think it's insane. I think it's just too difficult for them. I really do. Now, you're saying, oh my gosh, how do we take this curriculum? Sure, we've got a full 8-hour day. What do we do? First thing you do is you take the big picture. What can we eliminate? What can we put into pre-work? The cool thing is things are going to be spread out. So what assignments can we give people? And you're saying, well, our people won't do the assignments. Well, you know, you're going to have to discipline them over time that the assignments are going to be critical. You're going to do things like testing them. You're going to do things like open discussions. You're going to do things like assign them to teams in between to have conversation. So there's got to be accountability with those assignments. What are some cool breakout activities you can do? Now that's going to depend on your platform. If you don't have the breakout ability within your platform, then of course you can't do that. What are some group activities you can do during the session? Now, for those of you prepping, getting things ready, here's what I want you to do. First thing that Rachel and I do when we're doing a session, and by the way, we do a lot of customized sessions for our clients, even though we might be teaching them how to communicate virtually, we're still thinking, okay, what does that client need? What level are they at? What are the situations, training situations are they being faced with? So you have to get your mind into the mind of your audience. Take a look at your content flow, start editing. Then you're going to start adding that interaction with the whiteboards and the chats and the polls, and edit again. And then you've got to check out your timing. But let me just tell you, a ton of editing the content. You just can't go, 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 go. They won't pay attention. So you want to plan for interaction on those slides. Look what I'm doing right here. I have a screenshot of what the chat looks like and what the pictures look like. That's another cool thing to do, because instead of trying to verbally explain where things are, they can see what things are. So let me ask you, how will you prepare slides for your presentation? And then, is it pre-made? Is it create your own? Is it a combination of the two? I want you to go to the chat right now and answer that. Rachel, anything significant that I need to address over in my chat?
We did have a comment from Ernest. He said, how many times have you heard a presenter apologize for a slide? And then quoting, you probably won't be able to see this. And he said, don't use a slide if you need to apologize for it.
Thank you, Ernest. I know I've got a lot of, I got a lot of trainers and educators on today. That's exactly right. No apologies. If they can't see it and you're making apologies for it, stop. Just don't put that in. Take it out. Or use it as a build, or blow things up. Thank you very much. Rachel, what are my answers over there?
Most people are using a combination.
Okay. Yeah, so one of the things I would tell you to do is use a countdown slides. You saw today we have pictures on what we're telling you to do. I've seen people do polls there. I've seen people do games there, which can be kind of keeping them engaged while they're waiting to start. And you'll notice I had a 5-minute, a 3-minute, and a 1-minute. Today I started about 45 seconds to a minute late, not much longer. Discipline them. Don't wait for those learners to get on. Start without them. And they'll start to figure out that you're going to start on time. When transitioning to a new agenda topic, make it very definitive. Make sure you've got a slide that says, okay, now we're moving to this topic. And make it clean and simple. Clean and simple. Again, we've got to visually stimulate them, so you're adding slides. Another thing you can do, we don't need to do it in 30 minutes, but you better do it in 90. Incorporate some physical movement. Give them time to stand up and stretch. Get water, refocus. I had a group, I actually was presenting this. It was a 60-minute session, and it was a client, and I said, so do this. And they said, can we do that right now? I want to go get some water. I said, sure. So we just had a 2-minute timer, and I said, all right, everybody go run and get some water, go do this. I have seen where they have them go outside to actually physically go outside, look at the weather, and come back in and report it and chat. But movement is good for them. So think of ways, if I'm going to go 90 minutes, what can I do to get them to move? Chat beyond the basics. Okay. Look, it's there to create that dialogue, but also use it, what's their knowledge level? The producer and I can send messages back and forth. I'm going to tell you right now today, because I have a lot of people on today, that chat is over on the right. I'm not even looking at it right now. I want to stay very focused on my flow. I want to stay very focused on using my annotations. I'm not looking at the chat today. Now, if I have a smaller group, I'll bounce back and forth. But today, Rachel's in charge of it. What happens when you ask a question during a virtual instructor-led training? You say, hey, folks, and maybe it's a smaller group. Yeah, it's maybe 6 or 7 people on. And you say, hey, what do you think about this? Or how do you feel about this? What happens when you do that? What happens? You're going to go to chat. You're going to put it in there. Notice what else I'm doing. I'm also giving some space and time. So when I'm silent, I'm asking you to do something, and then it's just like, oh, I better go do this. What am I supposed to be doing now? What? What happens when you ask a question during virtual instructor-led training? Well, some of you got it, sure. So when you say, what do you think? What happens is, if they're an assertive group, they start talking over top of each other, and everybody feels uncomfortable doing it. You know, it's okay when we're face-to-face doing it because we can kind of see and we feed off of each other, but in virtual, you get this or you get those crickets. Nobody talks. Here's what you need to do, folks. It's just a couple of minor adjustments. I like the virtual for dialogue because if you have a question, what you'll say is, all right, I'm going to talk to Vicki today about this particular project. She's raised her hand, but you know what, everybody? I want you to contribute your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings in the chat. So in essence, just because Vicki and I are going to be talking, everybody else can contribute their ideas in chat. And then meanwhile, if I'm just by myself, I'll go over and look at that chat and go, oh, Ernest, that is an awesome feedback. Thank you so much for that. That was really great. Ernest, I'd love more information from you, and you'd open up that phone. The other thing is that as people contribute to chat and you see people, let me go get my spotlight again. It's my fave. You can manage the room and go, I noticed somebody's not really active. I can call out, and if I'm observing they aren't very active, but I always use their name first. I'll always say, hey, Sarah. Now Sarah goes, oh, what? Sarah, I have a question for you. Sarah, go ahead and unmute your phone, and then I'm going to ask the question. So what you're doing is you're giving them an opportunity to get present again, get present. Another cool thing we like to do, Rachel, go ahead and tell them what you do. And you've been doing it all along.
I have, and it's, excuse me, very simple. You just draw a line where you would normally type a text message and hit enter, and then it separates the topics for you.
Yeah, so today we've got over 50 people on today. So it's kind of hard to keep track of when I ask a question and then the responses come in. So she's just drawing lines in between. Now, you could get fancy. You could say Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, but separating them is a nice way to manage the topics.
And there was a comment earlier. Somebody said they didn't have a producer, and so that's a very handy way to help you know when to stop scrolling through all the messages.
Yeah, and even, producer sounds like a real sophisticated position. Listen, it could just be a colleague that's on there that's co-facilitating with you, that's reading what's going on in the chat, that's helping those few individuals that seem to be having that technology issue that the rest aren't. I, as the presenter, I can't be addressing those issues. I have to be calm. Here's the other thing. I've been kicked out before. My phone has gotten bad. I have somebody else on there that's my partner that when I get scratchy on the phone, I say, okay, Rachel, well, why don't you start telling them about this particular side? I'll call back in. Rachel jumps in. She starts talking about it, gives me enough time to get back in. That's pre-planned. Okay, so I'm not, of course, my heart is pounding out of my chest. Let me just say when that happens. It's nerve-wracking. But I know that it's not dead silence like, oh my gosh, what's happening? I also want you to use testing. So we're going to have some fun today. Individuals contribute verbally why others do what? Let's go to the chat right now. Individuals contribute verbally why others, and this is something that I just taught you, why others do what? Individuals contribute verbally why others do what? Listen and read. That's very good. Chat, listen and read, think. All of those are good. All of them are good. Answers chat. Okay, so provide input without interrupting is one. The next one is blank to monitor. That's a tougher one. Blank to monitor. I'll give you a hint. Something is monitoring. Who is monitoring? You got it. Producer. And then call out if observing some aren't what? Call out if some aren't what? Participating. Notice what's happening in my chat, folks. I'm now having a dialogue with you. Now, some of you are playing and some of you aren't, but the point being is that those that really want to learn, they're going to be engaged. Whiteboard and annotations, got lots of options here. Have you used at least 2 of these tools? Rachel, tell them how to raise their hand.
Yes, so you will click on Zoom, make sure it's your active application. Underneath the slide, you will see these 2 icons. Just select the raise hand and we'll see it come up.
Okay. There's lots of cool tools we can use today, and I'm going to tell you, we are in Zoom Zoom Event Center today. We're very limited on the tools. Normally, I would love to give everybody the rights to the tools. Today, we're not doing that, but what's super cool about this is that you've got lots of options. You can do it for brainstorming. Icebreakers. Whoops, sorry about that. There we go. For remote teams, goal setting, you've got notes. You can do a whiteboard. You've got parking lot. You've got all kinds of abilities, just like you would in a regular classroom. So for whiteboard and annotations, you can ask a question. You can instruct them which tool to use. You want to use screenshots. And here are some examples to get you thinking. Okay, who in this session is familiar with the DISC profile? I'm going to jump to that because I see I've got one particular, and I know I've got, you know what? I know I've got somebody on here that is. I have got Vicki Johnston on. She is familiar with it. I know she is. Do you see where she's at, Rachel, Vicki Johnston?
I do.
Give her annotation rights, please, or I can do it, either one. So Vicki, we're going to give you annotation rights. Where on the DISC profile would you fall? Now, by the way, this is another thing that you can do. You can give people annotation rights. When you're in Zoom, you could give everybody annotation rights, but when we're in the Event Center, we can't. And I'm going to wrap it up here. I see I'm at the bottom of the hour. Did we give her annotation rights?
So I have made Vicki let me go ahead and unmute her.
Panelist?
Yes, unmute.
Okay. Show her
Hello.
what to do.
Hi, I'm unmuted.
Hi, Vicki. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So, did you ever take the DISC profile? You're probably going to say, no, sure, that's the one I haven't taken. But have you ever taken it?
I haven't taken it. I've done very similar things. I am familiar with it though.
Okay, good. Show her how to point, Rachel, and then we're going to move on because I am 1 minute over.
Yeah, so at the top of the screen, Vicki, you should see if you hover your mouse over the top of the screen, you should see a little pop-up that says View Options. And if you click on that, you can select Annotate.
Yep, I have that.
Perfect. And then you can just either select your arrow or a stamp and then draw on the screen.
Or your spotlight or anything you want.
There we go, look.
There she is. Oh, thank you. That's great. Thank you very much. We're going to keep going, guys. I need to wrap it up here. You've got lots of different tools on the annotations. There's another really cool thing we're going to do too, and I'm going to actually clear out her drawings there. You can have people draw lines. So for example, if you wanted to show them, hey, you can draw from one place to the other, you can have them draw lines, right? So I love it when the screen gets really, really messy. You want to think about, how can I do that? How can I make that screen really messy? And I'm going to clear out my drawings. Just giving you some ideas. Quick tip on what was the most useful thing you learned today. 30 minutes goes by pretty fast, folks. I try to watch the timing perfectly, but I get excited. So you're going to tell me what you learned that was helpful today. We're trying to make them fun, interactive, giving you some tips and some hints. 30 minutes goes by pretty quick. Giving you some confidence in using those tools. We talked about interaction. Using the chat more. Using those whiteboards and annotations. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I want to give to some of you folks. Next steps. We do have a webinar to help you with content development. As you can see by today's, the content is key to your success. If you want to learn how to manage side conversations, develop the content, how to adjust the content to your audiences, it's all very content related. We've got another session for you. Feel free to join us. It's going to default to that after the session today. Love to have you on. Rachel, what did they learn today?
Vicki liked the line to separate chats. Bree, how best to engage with attendees. So there were some great tips. Corey also liked the line in chat. Diane liked the additional tools you showed in Zoom to keep interaction high. A lot of comments about the tools and visual engagement.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you though, a big part of that is the design of the curriculum and making sure that you've incorporated some of those tools. Don't rely on yourself to remember how to do all of that or to remember to reach out. We as trainers and educators or subject matter experts, we're used to looking at the audience and engaging them when we see faces. And since we don't have that now, you've got to incorporate it into your design. Thanks, guys. Looking forward to having more of you again. We've got lots of free sessions that we offer. So thank you for joining today.